from being in terrible trouble in the polls, they have them narrowing. The last but one poll, the Roy Morgan poll, had Labor Greens well ahead of National. The poll that was out today from Fairfax had the gap narrowing between National and Labor and the Greens by 2%. ACT is gone. ACT is gone. Done is down. The Maori Party is discredited. National Party has run out of coalition parties. And that is why everyone in New Zealand, all the commentators, know that it's all on for the election and it's too close to call. Mr. Speaker, we know that New Zealanders don't like rising inequality. We know that New Zealanders know overwhelmingly it's getting worse. 3/4 of New Zealanders think the gaps are getting wider. The government denies it. They deny it despite the fact that we've got the lowest home ownership rate in 50 years and still dropping. They deny it despite the fact that 46% of New Zealanders got no increase in their wage rates last year. 46%, even on average, across the whole of the economy, including the rich listers and everyone who got an increase in the amount they earn, wage rates went up on average by 1.6% when inflation was 1.5%. In other words, the benefits of growth are not getting through to everyday New Zealanders, and that's why New Zealanders are sick of it. They hate the cronyism from National. Judith Collins sits there every week in this House and John Key defends her. He comes out and he pretends that there was a perceived conflict of interest when there was a real conflict of interest when she was feathering the nest of her own family. She was feathering the nest of her own family by taking advantage of her ministerial position to advantage Aurovita in China, of which her husband is a director. Mr. Speaker, that is importing into New Zealand standards that New Zealanders do not want. They do not want those standards imported into New Zealand, and the Prime Minister defends it, pretends that the $50,000 donation to a charity that he got through Aurovita was for some independent charity rather than the National Party. Mr. Speaker, the government pretends they inherited a case of an economy from the Labor Party. They inherited amongst the lowest unemployment in the world and zero net government debt. In fact, there were positive assets to the tune of 5% of GDP. Bill English said the recession and the Christchurch earthquakes happened at the time when this has been the rainy day that governments had been saving for. Since then, Bill English said that. Since then, Mr. Speaker, we've had inequality rising. We are getting back to budget surplus. That's a good thing after 5 deficits. Labor would be doing it too. But a good economy needs to do more than that. We need to have money getting into the pockets of people through decent jobs and higher wages. We need to restore the Kiwi dream of owning your own home, and the Labor Party policy package is linked up and achieves those things. We have more money going into Universal Kiwi Saver, and through that and a variable savings rate, people save more and pay less in interest. That in turn takes pressure off the exchange rate, Mr. Speaker. That enables our exporters to thrive and to employ people and secure high-value jobs. We got that money going into the right parts of the economy through our capital gains tax, which takes money out of the speculative economy and puts it into the productive economy and grows jobs. We encourage innovation through a research and development tax credit and more productive investment through accelerated depreciation tax breaks so that we can lift wages, and then we ensure that under fair labour laws we will make sure that people who are working New Zealanders get their fair share. And we don't forget about the vulnerable. We know that parents with young children need a better start in life, and so our Best Start package improves the incomes of all families with young children, and particularly in later years for our lowest income families, and so it should, because we've got 280,000 children in New Zealand living in poverty, and that is disgrace. And then we have the Minister of Finance and Bill English today both pretending that income gaps aren't increasing in New Zealand when the census data, when 20-year-old data series from the University of Otago prove otherwise. Mr. Speaker, people will have have a positive choice to vote Labour at the next election.
Honourable Hikia Parata.
Mr. Speaker, hello.